Good morning, Dan. Rear Admiral Chip Rock up.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, are you there?
Yeah, I am here. And Rear Admiral Rock, are you at the 755-322-2805 number?
That's me. Thank you. I'm up audio only this morning.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
So, Dan, I just wanted to make you aware before we get started. We had a called city council meeting come up. I got over there at noon to present, so I'll be jumping off probably close to 11:30 today if we're not done by then.
Roger that. Thank you, Dr. Spence.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Spence. No problem. Appreciate you letting us know. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm just going to give it one more minute before we get started in case any of our other members join. Dan, are we anticipating attendance from any of the other members?
Sir, I believe that we are. I think we're still waiting for a few. Yes, here comes
Great. Well, we'll just give it a moment.
Carlos
Thank you.
Hopkins' office.
Yep.
Yes. They're connecting now. And I think I hadn't heard that Delegate Guy isn't attending, so I thought that she would be arriving, but perhaps not.
We'll certainly give her a moment. I'm sure she's coming.
Okay. Sir, can I, Dr. Lane, can I go ahead and tell the members of the public to, if they have comment to, we're still accepting them, and if they wish to send that in, to go ahead and look at the screen and send it to my email, and I'd be happy to bring that to the attention of the council at the proper time.
Great. Yes. Thanks, Dan. And yes, on the screen, everyone, please do send us your comment, and we do make sure all of the members of the council have access to that. Okay, I think we gave it a couple extra minutes here. We're going to go on it and get started. And so at this time, I call to order the April 20th meeting of the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact on the Educational Opportunity for Military Children. Certainly want to welcome everybody to our meeting and the month of the military child and our exciting celebrations with Purple Up Day and everything else going on. This is obviously a big month where we celebrate the service that our families give, in addition to the service that our service members give. And so to all the students out there, thank you for what you're doing, and we're here to support you as you make transitions. And to our parents, thank you for everything that you do to support your children and make sure they're successful in schools. And of course, a big thank you for your service to all of our parents that serve in active duty. So with that, I am going to next call for the approval of minutes. You have the draft minutes from our December 17th, 2020 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. All right. I think it was a motion by Mr. Willen and a second by Mr. Brown. All in favor, say aye. Oh, I think we have to do roll call, Dan. I'm going to turn that to you.
Okay. So we have Dr. Hall.
Aye.
We have Dr. Brown.
Aye.
We have Mr. Williams.
Aye.
We have Mrs. Schnappel.
Aye.
We have Dr. Baylor.
Aye.
We have Secretary Hopkins.
Aye.
We have Dr. Spence.
Aye.
And we have Rear Admiral Rock.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. And Dr. Brown, I apologize. I said Mr. Brown. I will not make that mistake again. My apologies. Okay, great. Well, thank you all for approving our minutes. We are going to start today with a school support highlight from Petsworth Elementary School. And so next, I'd like to introduce to you Mrs. Elaine Hayslip, school counselor from Petsworth Elementary School, located in Gloucester County, Virginia. Mrs. Hayslip has served in this role for 10 years and has served as the school's military support point of contact for 2 years. She is joined by two of her 5th grade students, Brennan Sellers and Brody Sanford. Welcome, everyone. And so excited to have students on our call. By the way, Petsworth Elementary School received their Purple Star Designation Award this year. Being that this is the month of the military child, we do feel like the council needs to benefit from hearing directly from those at the school level who receive and provide support to our military connected students. Our student guests are going to be joined by their parents. Brody Sanford will be joined by Mr. Jeremy Sanford, U.S. Air Force retired Technical Sergeant E6, and Mrs. Jamie Sanford, U.S. Air Force Master Sergeant E7. Brennan Sellers is joined by father Mr. Jason Sellers, Army Sergeant First Class, and mother Mrs. Casey Sellers, a 1st grade teacher at Petsworth Elementary School. And so with that, Mrs. Hayslip, you have the floor.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. So Mr. Dunham asked me to come today just to share with you a little bit about Petsworth's Path to Purple, as I call it. So last school year, the year 2019-20, we got a new principal, Mrs. Wallace, and within the first couple of weeks of coming back to school, Mrs. Wallace asked me as the school counselor what Petsworth was doing to support our military students. And to be honest, my response was that we didn't really have military students, so we were not supporting them in any way. So she asked me to do a little bit of research on that because she felt like we probably did have more military students than I was thinking we did. And so I did. And what I found was that, yes, Petsworth has military students in every grade level. So not only did we have military students in our school, but we actually were serving military students from pre-K to 5th grade. So then I had to think about what it was that I could do to support them. And I will be completely honest when I say that I have zero military background. I don't have any family members in the military. So I really didn't know what it was that I could give to these children. I literally grew up 20 minutes from where I currently live. And that's it. Virginia, 2 counties. That's the extent of my travel in my life. But I did know that Mrs. Sellers, who is a 1st grade teacher here at Petsworth, was also a proud military spouse and mother. And so I went to her and said, I really do feel like this is something that we should do, but I'm not sure what to do. So she suggested that we just give them a safe space where they could come and be together with one another. Because who understands the life of a military child better than military children? And so that's what I did. I came up with the idea to start support groups, so to speak, and they are called Patriots on the Home Front. So during the 1920 school year, we actually met during lunch, and I did our meetings by grade level. And that was just because I was not certain, and Ms. Sellers had indicated that not necessarily does a 1st grade student know the extent of military life that a 5th grade student might know. So just to kind of keep them in their own sort of core group, we met by grade level, and had at least 2 to 5 students at every lunch. Then when I started hearing their stories just about like where the places that they had been, all the different states that they lived in, we came up with some fun activities. So we got a puzzle of the United States, and I had my 4th and 5th graders put it together, and we Mod Podged it, so it still hangs up to this day, and talked about just all the different places that they have lived in their short lives. And I thought it was really a fantastic idea. And then one of my kiddos said, well, I was born in Germany. So I realized that, again, my lack of knowledge was great. So we actually bought a globe. And that way I know now that no matter what student comes to Petsworth, wherever they have been, we have representation for them. Of course, then COVID hit, so things changed slightly. We had to celebrate Purple Up Day last year virtually, but we did, and our parents and our kids and our staff, they all dressed up in purple. They sent me pictures. We posted it on Facebook. We put it on our web page. We sent out little mementos to all of our military kids during the month of April last year, just to say, we're thinking about you. We're not in school, but we're still together. And thank you for what you do for this great country. So fast forward to this school year, and we started the year out virtually and then went hybrid. So there was no way for me to allow them to be together. I wasn't allowed to mix grades. I wasn't allowed to mix classes. So we got a little creative, I guess you could say. And we actually meet on Wednesdays via Zoom. And this year I have grades 1 through 3 together, and then I have grades 4 and 5. We meet a half an hour each week, and sometimes we do fun crafts. So I have actually purchased some crafts, and I'll send them home with the kids, and then we all just get on Zoom and we do them together. We've done some woodworking projects together. We actually had our first in-person project last week. So to celebrate the month of the military child, I bought bird houses, and all the kids and their parents got to come, and we built bird houses together. And then in my feeling, like that's something that they'll have for forever. So for as long as those bird houses last, they will remember that they got to get together with a group of kids that really understand each other and just have some fun. And it was fantastic. We really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I know they enjoyed it too. So we've just come up with some really creative ideas on just how to allow our children to be together. Sometimes they'll share stories about just kind of the different places, the different schools. Sometimes we just chat about how we're doing in school, just how things are going. They always have opportunity to share if they have any concerns. We currently have students who have parents who are in and out of the country pretty frequently. So we just spend that time together and share whatever is on their hearts to share, and do crafts and fun activities. Our school has done a Veterans Day program for as long as I've been here, if not longer. And it's really interesting to me because the more I work with these kids and just understand the life that they lead and just the awesomeness that is military, like military family, military life, just the connectedness, just the bravery and the really and truly, like they are such proud people. Like they're so proud of what they do. It's just given me a whole new feeling about our program that we do and just celebrating our veterans and our military families. So for me, it has been just an amazing experience, just getting to know these children on a deeper level, allowing them to share with me their stories so that I understand what it's like to lead a military life. I always talk to Mrs. Sellers and we talk about the fact that it's different, like it's a different life, but it's a fabulous life. They are so proud of the life that they lead. So I always try to be really careful when I say like it's a struggle or it's harder, because I don't believe that they think that that's true. It's different in that they have to travel more and it's more schools that they have to go to and learning how to make friends. But I think it also just teaches them to be resilient and kind and strong and amazing. And so the more I work with these kids, like the more I just understand and respect them as just amazing young people. So I did bring a couple of them with me today. And I picked fifth graders because I think that they have stories to share and they are very articulate. So I thought they would be really great representatives for us. So I'm going to remove myself from your screen. I'll be back though, I promise. And I am going to let one of them come. Oh, so this is Mr. Brody Sellers. I will say that we do not have his parents. I'm sorry. Mrs. Sellers is here, but his dad's at work. But he is here and he is going to share his story with you. It's all yours, kid.
Okay. Hi, I'm Brandon Sellers, and I'm excited to share a little bit about my experiences as a military child. I was born in Germany and moved a total of 4 times. With each move, there are challenges such as leaving your friends, making new friends, and starting over in a new place. When I started at Petsworth, they made it really easy to be involved. The teachers are kind and caring, but they don't know much about the struggles of a military child. Last year, we started Patriot on the Home Front. We met together once a week to spend time with other military kids. There is an understanding of what the other kids are going through. We share experiences and support one another. We continued meeting virtually this school year and kept in touch. It made me feel like I was still thought of. We are working on ideas to help our teachers understand our challenges. Thank you for your time and letting me share my experiences with you.
Okay.
Great job. Yeah.
Yes, great job, Brody. Thank you.
Outstanding.
Fantastic.
So just so you know, I'm so sorry I messed up. That was Brennan. I have no idea why I called him Brody, but nonetheless. So Brennan Sellers, and now there is Brody Sanford. And this time I know I got it right. So Brody, you're up.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hello.
I was born in Alaska, moved 3 times. I was born in Alaska, moved to Missouri, where my sister was born, and then back to Alaska, then now to Virginia. Virginia is an amazing state. I love it since there's beaches, more new stuff, like new schools, beaches. Alaska did not have that stuff since it was cold. So I had to leave all my friends behind to go to this school. Petsworth is amazing. I like the resources, the teachers, and the classes. That's my story.
Great job. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your
Thank
story
you
with us.
so
Great
much.
Nice job,
story.
Brody.
Great story.
Glad you love your school too. We love Petsworth Elementary too.
You guys. So thank you so much for letting us come and share our story. We are definitely new to Purple Star, but I promise we are going to keep going. And we are going to continue to support these kiddos because they really are just amazing.
Yeah, well, Mrs. Hayslip, before you wrap up, I would love for the council to be able to make some comments, and hopefully your students can still hear or see, and also or even ask any questions. So, council members, any comments or questions you'd like to ask?
Just a quick comment, Dr. Lane. It's always wonderful to see students, obviously, and we certainly know the struggles that all students face, but we also realize students that travel and change schools every 3 to 4 years face a lot more challenges. It's so nice they've landed in a place where they're feeling accepted, where they're feeling the love that really kind of helps them be a part of the community. And to hear him say he loved Virginia, I mean, those kind of things show us that what you're doing is working. Thank you.
And Dr. Lane, Rear Admiral Rock.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. This is really, really impressive. Mrs. Heslop and Brennan and Brody, what you all are doing at Petsworth and for the community writ large is really, really important. There is no doubt that our military readiness is directly tied to family readiness. So thank you. Thank you for being an important part of what our military does for our nation. Very, very grateful.
Hey, Dr. Lane, Secretary Hopkins, and I certainly want to echo what Rear Admiral Rock just said and what I just heard from Dr. Willen. I'm just shocked at the resilience of the young men at such a young age. I mean, to go from Alaska to another state to Virginia, and I agree, Alaska is very cold, but just thank you all so much for sharing your stories and just reminding us of why we all do what we're doing. So thanks again for being here this morning.
I would like to add my appreciation and congratulations to the students. Good for you for finding your way, for finding each other and helping each other in your adjustments and finding the positives about your new duty station. There's a lot to be said for anywhere you live, and the people make a difference. And Ms. Haslip, kudos to you. You started out saying you didn't know anything about the military. And one of the youngsters said, teachers don't know much about the struggles of the military youth. You didn't know. And you educated yourself and you're educating your coworkers. Thank you. You're doing a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Martha Hall. Thank you so much. And I too would like to express my appreciation and congratulations to your school. To Brennan and Brody, I too am a mom of a military child. He's 17 years old, will be graduating, and he moved about 5 times. And he is just excited to serve his country, and he will be heading to the United States Naval Academy. And we're just so excited for your future. And it's just awesome to be in Virginia because we're here in Virginia, and he loves it just as much as you expressed to us today, Brody. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
I wanted to add something as well. My name is Trish Novel. I am a military spouse and mother of a 12-year-old daughter. And I just wanted to really commend you all. I love how you said it is not a challenge, it is not a struggle, but it is a positive. It is something that makes you unique and strong. I couldn't agree more. I love the ideas that you've been doing there at the school. I wrote them all down. I want to share them with other schools as well. I'm just very, very impressed. I love how you make them feel special and a part of something much bigger than themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other council members?
I think just quickly, Dr. Lane, so my name is Aaron Spence and I'm superintendent in Virginia Beach. And I think I want to commend certainly the staff there. I mean, it speaks to there's a lot. I mean, this doesn't happen by accident, right? And so first it speaks to the openness, to be welcoming and wanting to be culturally responsive. And this is part of being culturally responsive, understanding students' backgrounds and who they are and where they come from and what they bring to the table. And it speaks, I think, for the council to the work that we have to continue to do. When you hear stories about teachers who have children who come from military backgrounds and they don't understand what that feels and looks like, the work we have to continue to do to make sure that across the Commonwealth, because there are very few school divisions that are not impacted in some way by military connected children in Virginia. So across the Commonwealth, to make sure that our counselors, our teachers, our family community engagement people all understand the support that's required and needed, and speaks to the stories that these young men shared with us as they come in and transition to these new and different and in their case, wonderful places.
Agreed.
Dr. Lane, I would just like to add, I think it's important to recognize this particular elementary school and the district where they are. I just think it's so important to understand that when you reach out, no matter how few kids you have that are in a military situation, that's important as well. I mean, some of us are in districts where we have entire elementary schools that are populated by nothing but military families. Doesn't mean those kids don't have the same hardships and face the same obstacles, but they have a big support group around them because they're with so many people who are in the same setting. And here at Petsworth, where you almost have to go on a search mission and make sure you've identified your kids who are military. It really makes a big difference to reach out to those kids, because then they understand, all right, we do have that support system here where we're not in the majority of families. Well done.
Well, I will wrap us up and just say a final thank you. Brennan, Brody, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for being such great students here in our Commonwealth schools. I'm James Lane. I'm the state superintendent, and I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing at your school. And to the parents who may be off screen or just watching, thank you for supporting your children and the support that you give to Petsworth, and to all the teachers and staff members there. Like Dr. Spence said, you can really feel an energy at Petsworth that cares about our military children, and we're proud of the work that you're doing. So thank you all for joining us today. And
Thank
Dan,
you for having us.
Thanks. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Okay, well, that was wonderful. Thank you all, and appreciate everyone in engaging there. And Dr. Hall, congratulations on your child's admittance to the Naval Academy. That's incredible. I hadn't heard that.
Thank you so much. He also received an appointment to West Point, which he declined.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure our Army friends on there will have some questions in football season.
Yes.
Rear Admiral Rock noted that comment. Thank you.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry,
just
Rear
leaving this
Admiral.
one alone. Turn down West.
No, I like it. Isn't that true, Secretary Hopkins?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
All right. Well, I'm going to transition to the next piece in our agenda. Sorry, I'm looking for my notes here. We have a discussion on compact expansion for Guard and Reserve updates. So Dan, I'm going to turn this one over to you. I think you're muted, Dan. I apologize.
Okay, well, I think the last time the council met, we had discussed possibly, what actions could we take to support compact expansion for the Garden Reserves. This was in line with the movement made by the National Commission, maybe towards including the Garden Reserve outside of Title 10 orders under the compact. I have the update that there will be possible vote happening this coming October by the commission to include the National Guard and Reserve outside of Title 10 orders under the compact eligibility. So the agency, VDOE, will in their annual, grouping of possible legislative matters, send that communication to the executive office per our normal protocols about probably just an amendment to the Virginia Code so that it aligns with any changes that might come about through the vote of the commission. The other piece of this, though, was to create compact expansion for members of the federal workforce that support our military efforts abroad. Those folks, that we mentioned earlier, work for the State Department largely, or in foreign affairs, or embedded with military commands. And so we probably at that time will have a separate piece, as what I'm thinking, that will ask for expansion of eligibility, and that would sit outside the compact, so it'd be in addition to the code. That's the plan, Dr. Lane. I hope I have that correct, but I think that's the direction we're headed.
Thanks for the update. Council members, any questions on that for Mr. Dunham? Okay. Thanks for the update. And so that turns us next in our agenda to the military student family specialist update. So Mr. Dunham, again, I will turn it back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lane. I hope everyone can see that on the screen. Yes?
Yes, we're good. Yes.
Okay, great. Happy to provide this update for you all. The first thing I'd like to do is sort of talk about newest additions. We do have some vacancies out there across the state with school liaison officers turning over. We said goodbye a while ago to Wendy O'Sullivan from Fort Belvoir, and I'm happy to report that they've recently, within the last week, announced a hiring of Kristen Aquia, and she will be supporting Fort Belvoir, and largely Fort Belvoir supports the community of Fairfax, but I know that their reach goes beyond that. They go into Prince William County, and as far, they actually also support Albemarle County, believe it or not, and those other counties just north, or I guess it's northwest of Fairfax County, like Loudoun County. And then the Navy has formally announced the pilot program has kicked off. So for Navy Mid-Atlantic and then that community there in the Hampton Roads area, specifically, we have Lisa Howard. She is now newly appointed Exceptional Family Member Case Liaison. This is different from just the case managers, and she specifically will work with families and the EFMPs regarding special education issues. And so she sits in the Fleet and Family Support Center there in Newport News. She is now a member of our Military Student Support Process Action Team, and I believe Ms. Howard might become more involved with family engagement efforts too that we have underway with VDOE, and I hope to have a very strong relationship with her and do whatever I can to make sure that she gets what she needs to support her families. You know, she's excellent, and so my first engagement with Ms. Howard came about recently during our preparation for a breakout session for the VISCA conference, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here lately. And I can't wait to get to know Kristen. I heard from Jamie, the other school liaison at Fort Belvoir, and Jamie says that she's super excited about having her because she's full of enthusiasm and excitement, and so that's a good addition to the team, and good for Fort Belvoir on that. The next thing I'll talk about, these are just compact related items of note since December the 17th. In addition to this, I've gotten a lot of calls just talking about normal transition questions and kind of connecting folks with local school divisions. And those are not necessarily compact related, but those really have taken up the majority of my contacts with parents, just really kind of doing soft handoffs. But there have been a couple of cases that have come up under graduation, and one of them we took care of, and the other one we're still in the middle of. And so these are really where we come in and we support schools and we support parents in understanding what the compact says regarding graduation and timely graduation and keeping those students on track towards that. The second one of note are that we have two cases involving just program placement, and these are really just parents inquiring about what they were hearing from the school regarding program placement, and if you know, if the school was really giving them the correct information, which I'm happy to report they were. And so it's nice that the parents have someone else they can bounce things off of besides those that are in the school system, just to make sure everything's lining up correctly. So I'm happy to be there to support them. The other thing I will like to talk about are notables outside of the compact. And these are the things that I've really seen a lot of increase in communications about. A lot of folks, because of COVID-19, were asking about remote enrollment. And I think the word is out in the military community that Virginia really does have a process in place for students to register at the same time and in the same manner as children who are currently enrolled in the school system. So military families have really begun to know about that, and so they are calling my office to get more information. Tied to this is, we'll talk about this in a minute with Purple Star applications, but we're asking school divisions to really look at the communications they put out on their websites regarding remote registration and enrollment, and really kind of clearly articulate what that really means and the process for that, or, at least provide them with a point of contact to get that information communicated to the parent who was inquiring about it. I really found that it's been helpful for our special education families, especially, and it's also very helpful to our high school students who are moving and really need to get into those classes to stay on track programmatically. The other thing is, this is the standard. I get calls every week about Purple Star designation, and most of it's coming from school division POCs asking for technical assistance. And there's an uptick, as you would expect, during the month of April and May and June and July and August. And so I anticipate those calls to be more frequent. This is an unusual thing I don't normally see, but I have seen in the last few months at least 4 or 5 calls from families seeking tuition assistance for private school. And I think this has come about because there's been a lot of communication out there prior to this year about possible vouchers being used by military families to pay for private school education. And I think that's where that was born out of. And so we're sort of seeing the effects of that. And so my response is we don't have anything like that at BDOE or in Virginia, tuition support for private schools. I do point them to agencies like our military kids who do offer sort of some tuitions for activities that students might be involved in. And I do know of aid societies. And then of course, I sometimes circle them back with school liaison officers who also have additional information that might be localized to their area. But that's not something I normally see, but I have seen a number of calls. And so that's interesting. We've also received multiple calls concerning veteran services, and I've gotten specific calls from veterans about the Virginia Military Survivors and Dependent Educations Program. This is also something that has been coming up on a regular basis, and so I'm really happy to have a very strong relationship with the Virginia Department of Veterans Affairs, and especially their Services for Families and Dependents. And so it's an easy, soft handoff when I do get those calls and or those correspondences in my email to that organization. And then lastly, I have been getting a lot of calls for a return to in-person instruction. As a matter of fact, I just received a concern this morning, and most of these are coming from the areas where we have high concentrations of military families. And so, some of them were connected to legislation that was looking for, something in the code that would, require schools to offer face-to-face or a choice of face-to-face and virtual. And then when we received those, as we communicated back that, what my limitations were in my office in terms of sharing constituent concerns. And then we work on these on a case-by-case basis, talking to families about what they might specifically be dealing with and grappling with, and trying to get them the supports that they need through the local school divisions. So that I guess is to be expected concerning COVID-19 in our current situations. These are trainings that have been undertaken and or in the process of planning for. So we, as I mentioned earlier, myself, school liaison officers, the National Guard and Reserve Program Manager for Youth, and the EFMP Regional School Liaison Officer and Mrs. Howard, who I just introduced, all got together and created a panel breakout session video for the Virginia School Counseling Conference that went virtual. And so I've received information that was well received. And so we were happy to be a part of that. I've been working with PTSI, and PTSI, if you're not familiar with them, they're the Parent Education Advocacy and Training group that serves our special education families. And they do a really good job. The Virginia Department of Education provides grants to that organization to create trainings for military families and or the school liaison officers and EFMPs. And so they asked me, hey, could we connect with your Purple Star schools? And we've even conducted a training kind of that introduced PTSI to Purple Star schools. And we hope to do even more for Purple Star schools in the future. So that's been something that's taken place earlier this year. And I think the SLO and EFMP trainings are actually going on now, and more webinars for parents are coming, throughout the year and have already occurred. I just yesterday, and I will tonight, participate in a book sort of roundtable discussion that Prince William County Public Schools has been doing on supporting military folks. And so that was very interesting and one of a kind. So they have a learning community there where folks from across the school division get together and they read a book and they talk about the components of the book. And this one was on supporting military families. And so they had a panel discussion that I was a part of. So I was really happy to be a part of that. And then I've received calls from Chesapeake Public Schools about being on a call with them in supporting their schools who are all seeking Purple Star status to talk about the changes that we have coming with Purple Star designation and to encourage schools to become more involved. So looking forward to doing that. Looking forward, I do know that there will be a second annual Virginia Military Family Symposium for military parents of students with special needs. This is going to be run by PTSI this year. They're going to get the grant to kind of get that underway. And I think that that's planned for September of this year, if not September, sometime in the fall. I've had many conversations with folks about their desire to see a Purple Star Schools virtual conference. So the Miss Pat team and I will begin to work on that and see what we can do to kind of get something off and running. I just received word yesterday that something similar is being conducted with Fairfax County Public Schools. They're going to hold something like this. They're calling it the Student Ambassador Summit, and it's scheduled for the 26th of May. So I can't wait to attend and see how that goes, and perhaps that can guide the kind of thing that we'd like to do on a grander scale across Virginia. And then I'm working through the Office of Student Services here where I sit, and to develop a training module that will sit on the Office of Student Services website along with other modules for professional development. This one will be on supporting the social and emotional needs of military connected children. And so I'm working with the Navy Regional School Liaison Officer and the Virginia Beach Public Schools counselor there. And we're trying to get folks maybe from the Portsmouth Naval Hospital, the hospital up in Fort Belvoir, to be a part to participate in this training module, so we can make sure it's as solid as it needs to be, so that professionals who are looking at it, like our school counselors or school psychologists, school social workers, and others, will really gain some useful information to put into practice. So looking forward to developing that. In terms of the month of the military child, the governor, as some of you might already be aware, signed the resolution designating April of the month of military child. So we're excited about that. So once again, the state of Virginia should, utilize everything at their disposal to celebrate the military connected children and the sacrifices they make to make sure that they're supportive of their service members and parents. So along with that, we sent out a SOUPS memo encouraging celebrations throughout the month of the military child. And this includes Purple Update, which will be tomorrow, April the 21st. And everyone should, do their best to promote that and don purple, support military children. We have a social media campaign underway to kind of collect what people are doing. So can't wait to kind of look into that. I checked it today, the Twitter feed, and I saw that Dr. Lane had already posted a message of encouragement to schools to kind of participate in during the month of the military child, and especially on Purple Up Day. So I look forward to seeing what comes about with that. And you heard a little bit about what they're doing at Petsworth Elementary School. So I do know that schools, even when they're in virtual environments, are doing everything they can to make sure that our military connected children are being celebrated. So it's nice to see. The Purple Star application is now up. It's been up since April the 1st. This is the first year that we're actually moved it all online. I'm very excited about, because now my email won't just be swamped with applications, and I think they're going to be better managed through the online process. So we're excited about that. We have, because of the COVID-19 situation, expanded the training submissions. And so what that means is that any training that a school POC conducted between August of 2019 and September of this year will be allowed. The reason why is because we felt like most of the folks that were involved in supporting their schools, both the staff mental health and the students, during COVID-19 were the school counselors, and these are usually the folks that are also our POCs. They may not have had an opportunity to submit their applications last year because of COVID-19 and the supports that they were engaged in took priority, of course, over submitting an application for Purple Star. So we felt like it was fair to sort of expand that so that they wouldn't have to go through the same training they just went through like the previous year. So we also will be asking the Miss Pat during the review process to be a little bit more understanding and flexible concerning peer transition support. You heard about the transition support that's provided at Petsworth. Petsworth is not alone. I've heard of many different schools sort of challenged by the virtual environment, and how do they go about really providing peer transition support during that time. And COVID-19 in the virtual environment really did have an impact on that. So I think it's necessary for us to kind of take that into consideration. So that's what's happening with Purple Star. And then lastly, I'm really excited and happy to report that we have a date and a time, and we're moving forward on a military signing day. Now, it looks a lot different than what I had hoped to have underway for our kickoff event. I wanted something really grand, and we were going to have something last year at the War Memorial, but then COVID happened. So this year we're going to do it virtually. We're not going to wait any longer. Dr. Lane has agreed to host it. And so I've been in contact with the recruiting commands for every service branch across Virginia, and we're going to get participants from each of the recruitment cohorts that are high school students to participate. And then we're encouraging, of course, school personnel, parents, and the community to also attend. This is going to be broadcast publicly through our YouTube channel, just like this meeting today. And I just really can't wait to take some time to recognize the courageous decision that those youngsters are making to enter into military service. And so really looking forward to hosting them, our first ever military signing day for the state of Virginia. So that's it, Dr. Lane.
Thank you, Mr. Dunham. Great update. I have one quick follow-up, and then I'll turn it to the council for questions. Mr. Dunham, obviously I know we can all participate in the military signing day virtually. Do you have recommendations for how the council can help support the Month of the Military Child and Purple Up Day? Or are there specific events that many of us could attend? I know of some, obviously, but I thought this would be a chance to share some ideas with the council on that. Or even just things they can do on social media or something like that.
Sure. I think if you want to just, I can pull that up. I think I have it up on my web. Let me see. I'll share my screen here. Hold on one second. So you can start by going to this website, which is really just my Month of Military Child page. And if you go, these are ideas of how schools can become involved. But if you go down to the bottom here, you'll see that this is a link out to the Twitter site. And you can, of course, share what it is that you're doing to support military connected children during the Month of the Military Child. And this is the latest one right here. And so that's one way to do it. Just sort of broadcast your thoughts on military children and what they go through and how you want to support them. Kind of similar to what Dr. Lane had done. The other thing is just connect back with your schools, and just to make sure that that you're supportive of them doing things to support military connected children and look in the community. I I know that IKEA has had an interest in supporting Purple Up Day, and so I believe that they were going to have something tomorrow in Fairfax and in Virginia Beach, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Spence, have you heard any, or have you been reached by IKEA? I know that they contacted me concerning, so I do know that some folks in the community are doing special things. I don't have anything specifically to share about what they're doing in Fairfax or Virginia Beach or anything like that. I haven't really received any message, but that's pretty much what I have, sir.
Okay. Well, council members' comments or questions for Mr. Dunham?
I had one question. You mentioned meeting with Chesapeake to talk about Purple Star status. Was that to talk about how they can engage with their schools in that, or is that a division level thing? And is that new? I was a little unsure what you were talking about there.
Dr. Spence, that was a question that came from their Office of Professional Development. They asked, they're going to have a sort of just a question and answer session and sort of talk about what is required of schools to, really apply for Purple Star. They've asked me to be there to answer questions that folks might have and to kind of share about why Purple Star is even in existence. So yeah, that's a division-wide effort taken by their central office.
Secretary Hopkins, I think you were unmuting. There you go.
Yeah, thanks, Superintendent. Hey, Dan, quick question. The VMS DEP cases that you're getting, what's the nature of the inquiry? Is it just information about the program? Because I know we changed the law about a year or so ago to expand it. So just curious what kind of inquiries you're getting.
Yeah, I'm really, the main thing is that folks want money to pay, to help their children go to school and to help pay for that. And so I'm, they're asking about eligibility. And so I don't really get into the weeds about it. I do sort of talk about it in a generality, kind of introduce them to the program, and then I connect them directly with that department that manages the VDEP program, sir.
Okay. And just real quick, just a note, as you're working with Fort Belvoir and Portsmouth Naval Hospital, feel free to tap our office as well. We worked with them pretty closely over the past year with the pandemic, and they've been great supporters. So if there's anything we can do to support that, just let us know.
Well, thank you, Secretary. Appreciate that.
I have a question about the Purple Star. It seemed in my memory, and I looked online and I didn't see it. Is there a renewal process for schools that are designated as Purple Star? Wasn't there a requirement that they renew and in order to retain their status as a Purple Star school?
Yes, ma'am. Purple Star is retained for 3 years. And so this will be actually the first year that we will receive requests from schools asking for renewal. And renewal process is just like if you started your very first Purple Star application. So I do ask this question. It's the very first question on the application. Are you seeking renewal? Because we certainly want to recognize if this is going to be a school's second time receiving the award. The award will look a little different and the hoopla will look a little different.
Thank you, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
I think quickly, if I could, my question relative to Chesapeake was, has there been consideration given to districts or school divisions applying for Purple Star designation? I know a few other states do that, and I've not heard us have that conversation. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I wonder if we've gone in that direction, which would be great. That said, I don't know if there's any conversation around that.
Well, I have gotten that question, Dr. Spence, from school divisions. These were smaller school divisions that say, hey, look, we have 3 schools, or maybe we have, 4 elementary schools, a middle school and a high school. Is it possible for us to get Purple Star designation for the entire district? And the answer is yes. It is quite possible for there to be a division application. A school division like Virginia Beach, so that's a huge undertaking because what would be required is there to be strong evidence to indicate that professional development was administered and then received by all the school personnel at each one of the schools. And then, the other artifacts about peer transitions is a heavy lift as well. And so that's pretty robust for a school division like Virginia Beach City Public Schools and others like it with large numbers of students, but it's not impossible. And we certainly can, receive those applications and give it, the attention it needs and the review it needs.
I guess at the field level, I'm not sure people are aware of that. So thinking about a way that the council can at least make that option available, as you've noted, for smaller districts who may have 1 or 2 schools that are heavily engaged, or even for larger districts that want to try the lift.
I hear you. I'll do what I can then to make sure that that's known in my communications, and we'll make sure that something to that effect is articulated on the website.
I'd like to say thank you to you, Dan, and Dr. Lane for recognizing the importance of the Military Signing Day, elevating that for a student's career decision. I think it's really important that students are recognized, and that's a really great step in showing the students that we really do honor that decision. I think it's an important life choice, and that's a great first step in making that happen. I think that's certainly commendable. I want to say thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Okay, council members, any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, we will continue to transition in our agenda. And thank you for your presentation, Dan. At this time, well, no, normally we do public comment, but Dan, we're accepting that, I guess, in written form only. And are there any other public comments that we need to be aware of, Dan?
Sir, I don't have any that really have come in. I did get, like I said earlier, a concern brought to my attention, but it wasn't a formal request to present in front of the council, so no need to share it.
Okay. Well, then that will, and please, for any members of the public watching, please know that we do get your public comment when you send it in, and certainly you can email Dan anything you'd like to have shared with the council at any time, and I'm sure he will do that. Finally, before we close, this is an opportunity for the council to have any open discussion, voice any ideas, concerns, or questions, not related to the agenda, but around how we can support our military children. Or any topics that you would like to see addressed at our next council meeting, which will be in October. Members of the public, we did decide to go to a twice a meeting schedule where we will meet every April and October. And so we'll always meet in the month of the military child, and then check in on how our students are transitioning at the beginning of the school year as well. And so with that, council members, any questions, comments, ideas, concerns, or topics you'd like us to address in October?
Hey, Dr. Lane, Secretary Hopkins. Not so much a topic for October, but just to let the council know, I will not be here in October. My unit is slated for deployment, and so we're going to be heading out the door in about 2 weeks roughly, and heading overseas. So I'm going to communicate with the governor's office and see about having my deputy secretary sit in for me in October. But hopefully we'll see you all again, hopefully in 2022, when I return from deployment. And if not, then hopefully I will see you in some capacity over the next years. But I want to thank everybody for all of the efforts that you've put forward on behalf of Virginia's military children and their families. And I've certainly enjoyed working with each of you over the past several years now, and look forward to continuing these efforts in some capacity going forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you for letting us know, Secretary Hopkins, and thank you for your service and your deployment. So thank you.
Dr. Lane, I think from an agenda perspective, given the timing and that we will have been open for about a month at that point in a new school year, not post-pandemic, but sort of with a set of new expectations for school opening, it might be valuable to hear and we'd have to think about this, but to hear from the military perspective, how that's going in terms of opening and getting kids back into school, how we're meeting their needs and through those services. And, I know I'll speak to Virginia Beach. We've had, I mean, the military finally got its orders moving again in terms of new postings. And so we've had an influx of new families coming in and families leaving that we hadn't seen during the pandemic. And so we're adjusting to that again. And so I think it would be good for the council to hear how that's going across the state in terms of addressing the needs of some kind of wide scale transitions and this transition for these kids into and out of the environments that they've been in during this pandemic. We really haven't talked a lot about that as a council, and it might be a good agenda item for us to address and hear from the military on.
Sounds good. We'll make sure, we'll do a pretty broad school opening update in October. That sounds good. Rear Admiral Rock?
Dr. Spence, Dr. Lane, I'm happy to take that one on and lead that one for the council.
Great.
Hey, Dr. Lane, Barry Brown. I think it'd be a great idea in October to really look at the number of students who've applied to Virtual Virginia, just to get just a feel on how that's working and where our students are.
Great. Absolutely. We'll add that to the school opening update and work with Rear Admiral Rock on the family piece as well. So we'll all work on that together. Sounds good.
And Dr. Lane, if you can break that out into military students and non-military families as well, that'd be nice to have those to compare by as well.
Sounds good. Other topics for October or any questions in general?
Well, it was great having the students on. If there's a chance to get some students back in any capacity, it's always to see what's happening with the military children is a real plus for us, I think, as a panel. So certainly if that's a possibility to have some kind of 5 or 10 minute presentation from any student at any level, it's always nice to kind of hear how what we're doing is affecting their lives.
I think that's right. I think that now, Dan, that we are meeting twice a year, I think we ought to make it kind of a standing thing to at least have a family member or a student attend each of our council members meetings. Sorry.
Yeah, I already made a note of that. So thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing else, oh, go ahead, Dr. Bailey.
I do wonder, Dan, do you keep track of the school divisions or schools that are using the teacher training that we worked on with George Mason University on educating educators about military families and connectedness?
Yes, we do. And we can get that information from JMU. It's a simple request saying, hey, give me the data on the usage of the modules. And it kind of spells out which school divisions they're from, or if they're parents, or if they're community members, or who they might be. And so we certainly can get that, and I can make a presentation to the council.
I think that would be interesting. I'm not sure that it didn't sound to me as though the counselor, Ms. Haslip from Petsworth Elementary, might have known about that resource for her colleagues. Or maybe she didn't mention it.
She didn't mention it because in order for the school to become Purple Star certified, they have to provide the completion certificate that comes from the module.
From that module?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Okay, thank you. That would be interesting. Thanks, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Baylor. Okay. Well, Dan, do we have a need for a closed meeting today?
Dr. Lane, I do have military identifier data related to the fall count. We don't yet have the spring, of course, because those are just now coming in and being processed by the folks in data. But we certainly can share that if you'd like.
Okay. Well, and I don't believe we did that in December, so I think that's good. So, to the members of the public, we are in a moment going to make a motion to enter into closed session. I just want to thank our speakers today and all the council members for being with us. And so with that, we will begin entering into a closed session related to the Interstate Compact. The military student identifier data is not a public record. On behalf of this council, I would be requesting the data to be shared with each council member so that we are knowledgeable about the scope of military connected children in our state, and the council can perform its duties in a way that best serves the children in our Commonwealth. In order to do so, I move that the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunity for Military Children, hereafter referred to as the Virginia Council, convene in closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia to discuss matters that would involve the disclosure of scholastic records of Virginia students and the disclosure of data collected from the identification of uniformed services connected students, which is prohibited by section 22.1-287.04D. And so with that, I have made a motion. Do we have a second to enter closed session?
Second.
And Dan, roll call on the motion. You're muted again. Sorry, Dan.
Certainly. Sorry about that. So we have Dr. Hall,
Aye.
Dr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
Dr. Spence, Dr. Willen,
Aye.
Ms. Schnappel,
Aye.
Mr. Hopkins,
Aye.
Dr. Baylor,
Aye.
Rear Admiral Rock.
Aye.
Thank
And
you,
I
sir.
vote aye as well. And thank you. Dan, you might want to add me to your list. So
I'll do
with that, we will enter a closed session. So we'll just pause a moment while we make sure that the YouTube live stream stops.
All right.